you see the Eubank Jr versus Benn fight going? Can we have a round? Can we have a method? Can we have a prediction from you?
No, you can't, because I'll get in trouble either way I say anything. As I said, look, two men are going to get in the ring. The best man's going to win. It doesn't really matter what my opinion is on the fight. I obviously represent Conor, but I have very close links to Team Eubank. I think it will be a brilliant fight. You know, I think it will, round one of that fight will be like round 13 of the last. I think, you know, the experience will play a difference in this fight. I don't think Conor's ever had the experience of a fight like that. You know, he's never been the rounds, he's never been in a fight anywhere near that type of night. There was a lot of pressure on him, you know. It'd been built up over 3 years, that fight. But Chris has, you know, been in big nights as well. He's the bigger man, as we saw in that fight as well. He was a much bigger man in the ring. But it'll be no different. It'll be a tremendous fight. You know, from round one onwards, it'll be like round 13. I can't wait to watch it. Don't miss it. All live and exclusive on DAZN.
But did the rehydration clause that had Eubank Jr looking like Skeletor in there at times, do you think that's going to play a factor in the second fight with, you know, a little bit older, a little bit dehydrated still?
Yeah, look, that's one thing I can comment on, is the narrative of, you know, the second day weigh-in that he had. You know, he weighed in well under the 170 limit on the second day. I think he, off the top of my head, you know, if I get this wrong, it was a few months ago. I have a lot going on. I think he was 167.6. You know, if you were someone really stretching yourself on that, you would weigh in at 170. Like that's the reality of it. The key is the 160 weight he missed. He didn't miss the rehydration weight or the second day weight. He missed the 160. You know, the weight that he is naturally at. He posted the videos of him making weight because it's a narrative. You know, he likes to push. And then you have an interview with me and his manager who says, "Nah, 160 is fine," because every fight he'd ever take is at 160. Every fight he was talking about was at 160. It wasn't about the weight, but obviously they're all about narrative. They're brilliant at telling stories. That's what Chris is great at. One thing I will always commend Chris on is he is a brilliant storyteller, you know, and but people forget that Conor is a much smaller man. Conor started this camp at 156 pounds. You know, he could make 147 still, and that's why he aims to go back to 147 after this fight and challenge for a world title. So you can create narrative any which way you want, can't you? You know, if you're on that side of the fence, you say, no, it's like Conor's making the big jump. That's the sport we're in. We're all about people creating narrative, and that's why you're still talking about it now. Just like, and that's no disrespect, just like everyone is.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Cheers.